Well, the Supreme Court is a big issue in the fight for the Senate, and The Hill reports a top Democratic super PAC is pulling its remaining ads from the Colorado Senate race because they are confident former Governor John Hickenlooper will pick up the seat as Democrats try and retake the Senate. For reaction in the state of his campaign, joining us now, the man Hickenlooper would beat, Republican incumbent Senator Cory Gardner. Good to talk to you, sir. We appreciate it. The Democrats have pulled their money out. You can read into that what you will. If you indeed win this race, what will the media and Democrats have missed about the polls that show Hickenlooper up now by almost double digits?
Well, look, I think the polls that are public aren't actually showing what's really happening in Colorado. This is a margin of error race. It has been for a long time. In fact, Morning Consult, the polling firm, actually withheld their September poll from the public because it showed this race basically tied. And so I think you had a lot of manipulation by the public pollsters.
But what specifically in the model are the public polls missing that your internals are showing? Is there a hidden Trump vote, or are these Trump supporters who won't admit to liking any Republican? Who is it?
Well, yeah, I think if you just look at their methodologies, sometimes their methodologies can create their own challenges. If you look at how many independents they think unaffiliated are going to turn out, they can skew the numbers a little bit just like that. They can get a little too cold or too hot on numbers, and we think we have the right demographic and projection for an election day we'll look at. But I mean, when they released their poll in August, they didn't release it in September. They released their poll in October because September didn't fit the narrative that they wanted to.
You and I have known each other in politics for a long time, going back to when you were in the State House and I was a young reporter in Denver. And we've sort of watched Colorado morph from a red state into a purplish blue state. Can you win Colorado if President Trump loses Colorado?
Oh, absolutely. Look, I mean, Colorado remains two states in one, really. It's a deeply red state in part. It's a deeply blue state in part. And you've got 10 to 12% that are going to make up their mind as we speak with ballots in their hands. And I'm excited about our record of accomplishment. I'm the third most bipartisan member of the Senate, passed more bills into effect than the entire Colorado congressional delegation combined. But, you know, just a year ago, Leland, the state of Colorado voted against a massive tax measure that would have destroyed our balanced budget efforts and Tabor initiative. 2 years before that, they voted against a ban on oil and gas, and just a few years before that, they voted against a socialized medicine program. So the voters of Colorado continue.
It's a fascinating state, and you also have Jared Polis, who you've talked about working with, who's a very, very liberal governor there. So if there's an idea that there's a ticket splitting that can go on in Colorado, how are you messaging to those potential Biden-Gardner voters that you'd need to win the state if President Trump loses it?
Yeah, it's a really good question, Leland. And what we're focused on is that being a fighter for Colorado in Washington, getting more Colorado in Washington, less Washington in Colorado, and talking about that record of accomplishment. Things like the Great American Outdoors Act, which is the biggest conservation accomplishment this country's seen in over 50 years. That was my bill. It means a great deal to the people of Colorado. We moved the Bureau of Land Management headquarters to Grand Junction, Colorado. That's a huge deal for public lands. That's very important to my state. You know, John Hickenlooper wants to fire and put out of work 230,000 oil and gas workers. Colorado rejected a ban on oil and gas just a couple of years ago, so he's out of step with the voters in Colorado. And so we just remind people that on telephone, on television, digital text, you name it.
Especially out in the Eastern Plains, which is really a very different area than Denver, where you are right now in Yuma, Colorado. Oil and gas and fracking has become a huge thing. Just drilling down on this a minute, though, are you finding that you're having to distance yourself from President Trump and some of his, not necessarily policies, but perhaps the way he does things with voters who you're courting in Colorado?
Well, the media is desperate. The mainstream media is desperate to find some kind of daylight or distancing or rebuke or whatever, because that fits their narrative. What I continue to do, and I have done it for the last 4 years, where I agree with the president and work together, we're going to be able to do great things for Colorado, and we have. Where I disagree, I'm going to be clear about that, and I have been. We've worked well together on moving the Bureau of Land Management, U.S. Space Command, opening up in Colorado Springs.
Real quick, going back to the topic du jour in the Senate right now. You've come out about Amy Coney Barrett. Are you going to vote for her, number one, and number two? Does that hurt you come November?
Well, I think she did a phenomenal job in the hearings. I've spoken to her personally. I plan to vote for her, and I think that's going to help this country more important than anything, regardless of the politics of it. It's important to have a jurist on the bench who is going to uphold the Constitution and not make law. You saw a week worth of hearings the Democrats, the radical left, believes that the Supreme Court is nothing more than a super legislature. That if they can't get their way,
Senator,
ballot box,
I hate to do this.
they have to fight.
We got to run, but we've been running the stopwatch during the interview, which means we will offer equal time to the former governor, although he hasn't gotten back to us, nor has his campaign. So the equal time is available before the election. We wish you all the luck, sir, the best to the family, and glad you're getting some time with them this Saturday, sir.
Thanks for having me. Thanks.